it's Ryan Divish from the Seattle Times. It's our weekly shout. There's Tim Booth in the background if you're watching on YouTube, bucksports.com. If you're listening here on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, where you find your podcast. Ryan's weekly appearance brought to you by Chalet Bowl. Big shout out to Chalet Bowl. Washington's oldest operating bowling alley, Ryan. Established in 1941, located in Tacoma's Proctor District. Family owned and operated for 40 years. The Frederick family and staff specialize in customer service for your bowling, food, and fun experience. While at our unique 12-lane facility, go to chaletbowl.com to make your reservations. Ryan, as we tape this just hours before the matinee game Wednesday, May 1st against the Braves, how was your commute from Tacoma to Seattle?
Well, first of all, my commute today was from Ording to Tacoma. And, you know, the Sumner Valley Road Highway, that was because everybody was going to school. I forget that, like, there are kids and school's still going. So that was the seventh circle of hell. It took me an hour to get from Ording to Tacoma so I could get my hair cut from John the barber. He did a good job. You look
good. It's a good haircut.
He did good. I mean, I always tease him that I make his haircuts look better. And if you've seen John's hair himself, he looks like he cuts it with a Flowbee. So,
do they still have a Flowbee? Is a Flowbee still around?
I don't know. Tim Booth probably uses a Flowbee.
Okay, that's unfair. Tim doesn't have hair. He's bald.
So, no, like, I'm that guy too. You know, like, there's a running joke about how Greg Bell would always have conversations with his wife and kids in the Seahawks media room and just out loud, so loud, so everybody can hear what they're talking about. So
everyone can hear you talking to your family and kids.
Yeah, so I'm doing that in the press box right now. So Booth and
why are you whispering? Stop whispering. This whispering. Is like I want loud Ryan Divish, like when you're on foul. You're cheating on us with foul territory. All right, where's the NWO hat too?
Oh no! Well, when your hair looks good, you can't have a hat covering.
Do you? For those watching, if you're listening, you can't see it. Go back to the YouTube and see it. Do you put product in that to get that little faux hawk in the middle, or what are we doing?
So, like, as my mom calls my hair, I have a Japfro.
Jeez.
So, like, Japanese, there's some groups of Japanese people that their hair doesn't go down; it goes out. Me, Kenji Jojima. So we cut it short, and then I have to put a lot of product in because it has some natural curl to it too. So when I was a kid in seventh grade,
can we stop here real quick? Can we just tell viewers and listeners, Ryan is half Japanese.
Yes.
I just would like to point that out.
Yeah, so I can call it a Japfro. I mean, it's not a racial slur. So anyways, when I was a kid, like seventh and eighth grade, I had the feathered parted hair. And I remember we were playing one of the reservation schools in Montana, and they kept calling me Kevin Arnold because I look like Kevin Arnold from the Wonder Years. And so they're like, who's got Kevin Arnold? Who's guarding Kevin Arnold? And I think Fred Savage was kind of fat back in the Wonder Years, but he did end up with Winnie for a while. So.
Oh, yeah, he did. I wouldn't say he was fat.
He was chubby.
He was chubby. He was chubby. I don't say he was
fat.
That
they didn't end up together in the end? I remember, like, we were in college.
That's right. Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
we were in college, and Nick at Night did that Wonder Years marathon. So me and my buddy Rick and Scott, we got a bunch of beers and watched it for like 3 days straight instead of doing our homework. And I'll just never remember the last episode when they don't end up together. There was a beer can goes flying up, hits the screen.
So how does it end, right? They date, right, or something, and they go to college, but then they break up, and then he marries some. They go their separate ways, right?
Yeah, they just kind of talk about how she's still his best friend, but they don't end up together.
And then what was his brother's name?
Wayne.
And Wayne dies in the war.
Yeah.
God, that you know what? That was the best. I mean, it's because it was our age. Well, we didn't grow up in that day and age, but in terms of our age of growing up and watching it, like that was the best show.
Oh yeah,
ever.
and like it was seminal for us. And then like you have Daniel Stern as the narrator, who also did the narrating in, there's something else. It was like somebody I was trying to explain to somebody about the movie.
He's the character in Home Alone, the tall, goofy guy.
And I was trying to explain to somebody like the meaning of Stand By Me and what it meant to people our age. Like they don't get it. You know?
Well, he wasn't the narrator of that. No, that was Richard Dreyfuss, right?
Richard Dreyfuss, yeah.
That's another one. So I'm wondering, when do I show that one to the kids? I think the teenage daughter at 14 can watch it. The 10-year-old, I'm not so sure.
No,
he's not going to get it. No. He's not going to get it at all. All right. This pitching staff, this is stupid now. Can we just call it that? It's dumb what they're doing.
I mean, like every time you go out, you just wonder who's going to be better.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Castillo I don't think he was as good as he was in Denver, but that's a better lineup. And the thing was, though, is he made pitches, and that's a team that can hit fastballs, and he threw fastballs at him and beat him. And that just goes to show you that when you execute properly, hitting is much harder than pitching.
Well, that's the number one offense in baseball. And they in the first two games of the series, they'll wrap it up today on Wednesday. They've completely shut them down. Like just handcuffed them. What are 3 runs? They were averaging damn near 6 runs, almost 6 runs a game coming into the series, and they've held them to 3 in the first 2.
And they gave them 2 of those runs essentially.
Right. Exactly. And then regardless of whatever happens in the the final game, I mean, they won the series against one of the best teams in baseball, if not the best team in baseball. There's a lot for them to take away from this series. Again, I know we'll get to the offense here in a second, but I mean, this pitching staff is a World Series caliber, championship caliber. There's no doubt about that.
Well, their last three series are against the Rangers, Diamondbacks, and Braves. I mean, you throw in
all World Series. Yep.
The Reds are still. They played most of their games against teams over 500. I mean, everybody was like, when they split with the Red Sox. Well, look at the Red Sox pitching right now and how good it's been.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's, they got shoved on by the Red Sox. Well, that's what happens. That's what they're doing to other people.
Yeah.
So it's been pretty crazy to watch. Like, I had never seen a run like this. And for a while there, when they were basically soiling themselves in the first 2 weeks of the season, and I wrote a whole special section story on how great the starting rotation was, I was feeling like an idiot. And then now I feel vindicated.
Was that the only time you felt like an idiot, or has that been multiple times?
When it comes to baseball stuff, no, that's usually about the only time. But daily life, I feel like an idiot every day.
So do I.
I mean,
every day.
I told my girlfriend the other day, I was like, what are you so upset at? I go, I just find ways to waste time and just because I'm just stupid and I don't learn, I'm just dumb.
What do you mean you don't learn? You don't like to go learn new things, read or discover? What do you mean?
No, it's like I'll do something stupid, I'm going to try and drive into Tacoma at this time. And then I don't realize that that's stupid, or I know better than to I set 3 alarms. I know better than to not get up eventually, because I'm an idiot.
You're not a good planner. Are you not a good planner?
I mean, you're talking to somebody who went to the wrong freaking airport.
So check the box, not a good planner.
I mean, I am, but I also have raging ADD. And so if I'm not on my meds properly and taking them at the right time, I'm a zoo.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, I'm with you. I'm telling you. If I could take the camera down and show you, I have to write. I am almost out of Post-it notes. I have to write so many Post-it notes down on my desk to remind me of stuff to do. And if I don't write a checklist of things to do every day, I'll go in a tailspin of a panic
I have
attack.
the Jim Moore yellow note.
Yeah. And you write it down.
And then when I'm writing a feature story, a big one, I wrote a couple big ones on Felix in the past.
Yeah.
Some of the longer takeouts that I've written, I write all that stuff. The Seager story a couple years ago, looking back, the Hanover story, I write those all thoughts out on paper first.
Oh.
I mean,
really?
I don't necessarily outline, because I once had an editor ask me to send my outline and some notes to her so she could approve it. And I was like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
Was that the young one?
Yeah, that one didn't. Anyway, so now I have a Coug.
Moving on.
Yeah, I have a Coug for an editor now, so he's a good dude.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, but
just feed them beer and liquor.
No, but
fine.
It's I'll have a story idea. I think this is a good story idea, and I'm driving down the road. If I don't speak it into a recorder or speak it in notes,
100%.
I probably could have written a top 10 song sometime in my head, but I forgot all the lyrics.
The greatest thing that the iPhone or whatever phone ever invented was the notes thing. Because I'm with you. If I don't write it down right away, I will forget it. I'll absolutely forget it. Who is right now? Who's pitching the best on this staff? Is it Miller? Who would you take right now to one game playoff? Miller? I mean, just all of them. Miller, Kirby, Gilbert, Castillo?
I would probably take Logan.
Okay. Why?
Because I heard you talking about just the mindset that he pitches with. And he's like 31-0 if you score 3 runs while he's pitching.
Ridiculous.
He understands kind of the moment and how to compete. I mean, those guys are great competitors, but he doesn't he doesn't need to have perfect command to still get outs because he's added so many pitches and he can do different things. I think we saw with Castillo and Kirby, when their command is a little off, they get hit a little bit more, but Logan figures out a way and he'll still give up the gopher ball. Don't get me wrong, but I just like that dynamic. I just think, the whole Walter thing, and I've been on the receiving end of the Walter attitude. I don't ever want that to happen again.
Oh, he snapped at you before.
I wouldn't say snapped at me, but he just stared into my soul
What do you remember the incident, the question?
No, it was just, I don't really ask questions. I just kind of make random statements.
You mean Greg Johns?
Yeah, me and him. And so then I was really bad. And it was just that scene in that scene in Breaking Bad when he's like, say my name.
Yeah.
And I was just I felt like I was at that moment.
Oh, it's the worst. There's the worst. There's nothing like it. I think every fan's got to experience an enraged, angry pitcher post-game standing at his locker. And you are assigned to ask 3 to 4 questions. And you just tell me how that goes over for you. Just have a good time with that one. It's the worst.
And also, you shouldn't get granular when they haven't pitched the way you want. You should just say, so how would you assess your outing?
It's a great question. Yes.
How were you feeling out there? Something like that. Stay simple.
But you do stay simple, but then you'd get somebody like Moyer back in the day when you would just be like, hey, Jamie, what 4th inning, what'd you see out there? What happened in the 4th inning? Oh, what'd you see?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I saw a bunch of 84 mile per hour fastballs and 85 mile per hour changeups. Now, Moyer used to take great pleasure in just tormenting people, especially anybody he didn't think was older. Yeah.
Oh, he hated the young guys.
Yeah. It's just Francona used to do that to all his. As much as Francona hated the Boston media, he hated out-of-town media more than he hated his Boston media. It's just and Scott does that to some level. He'll mess around with the opposing media or an intern or Goldsmith, one of the 2, 3. But
he does. He's okay. I mean, he gets a little spicy. I mean, you can tell because we've talked about this before. There is no doubt that he follows this stuff on social media and he reads and he listens.
Yeah.
So he's well aware of what the tenor of the conversation is around town.
Oh yeah, and so he calls all my lunatic Twitter followers my friends, and he's hey, tell your friends, it's
Okay, so I made on the Daily Puck Drop this morning on Wednesday. I made a plea to John Stanton, and actually you talked about it when you made your appearance on Foul Territory with those boys, which is a great show by the way. Mm-hmm. And
also I looked up Przinski's numbers. He wasn't that good in T-Mobile Park he was great. He hit 250.
You got to point
that out. What they say about AJ Przinski, what Ozzie Guillen used to say about him?
No, what?
When AJ's on your team, when you play against AJ, you really effing hate him. And he goes, when AJ's on your team, you hate him just a little effing less. But you still hate him.
It's perfect. They've got, I made a plea. They've got to add, they have to add a couple of players at the deadline. They just have to add. Offensively, they cannot. My plea this morning was, and you were kind of making the same point. They cannot waste what they're getting right now with these starters. They just cannot. They've got a staff that can win you a championship. I mean, it's just they can. They're that talented. They cannot waste it this year. They can't get to the deadline here and go, well, we can't do that, or we can't pull off a trade, or we can't acquire a guy because we have to take on their salary. This cannot be the trade deadline year where you're concerned about taking on salary. You just can't.
No. Well, they've had over 30,000 fans at a bunch of these games. I mean, they're making money. I don't care about root sports. You don't get the opportunity. The window isn't open all the time.
Right.
And also, you need to add in the sense that, your pitching isn't always going to be this good all the time. Remember last year in September when the
Sure.
pitching started to struggle, they didn't have the offense because they used it all up in August. So they need to add. I mean, like whether it's a left fielder, or a guy that can play there, or maybe somebody plays at first or third. Add somebody.
Yeah.
They need to add one more bat because they're a bat light, I think. Now, who is that right bat? I don't know. You're looking like some guy named.
It's early. It's early right now.
Yeah, some guy named Larry Stone. He was here. He showed up.
Yeah.
Showed up mid game. Still sat in the front row. Everything.
I mean, if you're not covering, should you be in the front row? If you're not covering the team?
I mean, Kramer. He was like flanked by Jude and Larry, so he's just the happiest person of all time. But like Larry was going through, we were like sitting there talking about the Rockies, Giants, Marlins, teams that are out of it already.
Looking at those guys, looking at that roster and trying to get somebody from there. Was there a specific name?
No, not really. I mean, because like the Rockies guys are all flawed, like Ryan McMahon, and you like it. But I mean, like if you got Ryan McMahon to play with Rojas at third base, maybe that's better than Urias. I think one thing, and I know they've got dudes up here, and they've got some guys in Tacoma that are throwing 100 right now. Like Ty Buttrey hit 100 miles an hour, and they got this Jordan Holloway throwing 99. They got all these guys down there, but like if Santos doesn't come back and there's another good proven leverage reliever to go up there with, then you take a look at that too.
Yeah.
Because
Santos though at this point, I mean,
hey, looking.
Do you think we'll see him
June 1st, maybe?
June, okay. And Matt Brash, have we got an update on Matt Brash yet?
No, but I think it's fair.
You anticipate the surgery?
Yeah. And
that's Tommy John?
Yeah, that's what I expect. It could be the brace instead of the full TJ, but I don't think there's any way that he's not missing significant time. I think they thought that from the very beginning because they knew that the UCL was damaged before.
Yeah.
It just wasn't torn all the way. That's why they could brace it and bring him back. But I don't know.
You think he's going to look back and the organization will look back and go, well, I don't think there's going to be a regret. Maybe not from their point, but from his point of view of like, I really wish I would have stayed a starter. Because then you can manage it a little bit better. You don't have to overuse him as much. When he's in that reliever role, I mean, it's high leverage, and they used him a bunch the last 2 years, and they had to, and he was great.
From a financial standpoint, staying a starter makes you millions more.
Of course.
Yeah, he pushed for it, but then he wanted to pitch for Canada in the WBC, so they did some horse trading. If you're going to pitch for Canada, WBC, you got to be a bullpen guy.
Okay. All right, we got a day game on Wednesday. What was served for the media dining today?
So media dining today is burger bar, supposedly. I haven't gone there yet.
Okay.
It hasn't been burritos, but yeah. I don't think we'll ever see the breakfast burritos again.
How have you seen the burgers yet? Have they put them out? What do they look like? Is it a blue tent or no?
No. So the last time they did burger bar, it was fine. They did burger bar during the playoffs in their very first playoff game, and they were gray. And then I accused them of being IKEA horse meat.
They had a grayish look to it.
Yeah, it was not good. And they were cold.
What are we doing over there? Come on,
it's your first playoff game in like 20 years, and you serve out low grade dog food from freaking McDonald's, basically.
Oh, that is just terrible. All right, we'll be abbreviated visit here today with Ryan Divish because of the day game. We'll catch up with you on Friday.
Hey, Brad's right here. So
there's Brad. Look at that. Now that guy is a professional. We should do it now. We're going to be live with Brad Adam later after the game.
Room. Hey, Adam Jude got a haircut too. It looks better than all of us.
Well, Jude is the best looking guy in there. Don't you think? I mean, if we're going to rank good-looking media people, you're up there, Brad's up there, but Adam Jude, my God, I'd leave my wife for Jude, I think, at times.
Yeah, I mean, Jude's probably the best looking. I mean, he's got that Nick Lachey quality.
He does.
Brandon
He's very boy band.
Brandon from 90210.
Yeah. Do we want to do the worst-looking media people, or that's probably uncalled for?
I mean, Neil Scott's over there.
But there is only one person in that press box that has a mechanical penis, and that is Neil Scott.
Damn.
You are the best. Listen to him anywhere, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you find your podcast. Of course, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. The buttons are all below, and leave a comment. Until Friday, we'll talk to you then, Ryan. Thank you, sir.
See ya.